beautiful outside for you as it is for me. I'm here with the amazing Connie Jo Skywalker. I think we're all excited. Hi, Connie Jo.
I'm excited. Hi, everybody. Hello, Susie. And
If you see Connie Jo looking down, she's actually still involved and engaged with all of you. We are checking both sides of comments on our phones and on the screen. So yes, this is Ask Us Anything. So I just want to set some parameters as I normally do so we don't have chaos and bedlam in the chat. Although I wouldn't call my chat well behaved because you have the perfect amount of twisted humor. I love how you are not behaved, but we're going to be kind to each other. No one's moderating, is me. so so we're going to take questions. You can ask an astrological question, but what we're not going to do is like ask Connie Jo to give a whole reading. So you can ask like, I have Mercury square Jupiter coming up in my chart, what that might mean for me. We're not pulling out astrological software because right now our technological equipment allows us none of that luxury. At some point, I promise we'll be there. And you can ask us questions about divination, getting in touch with your guides. You can even ask us, like, will I get the job next month? You can ask a question that you just want an answer to in a way that you want us to channel and give you an answer. And then you can ask us something about your chart or just what does this in this house mean. But we're going to keep each person is going to ask one question. We cannot look into like love for the next 3 months or advise you on a relationship without looking at charts. So please phrase your question because we never want to have to say like, oh, I can't answer that. And then hope that you rephrase it and get it back in there before time is up. I think we're going to do about an hour. But if Connie Jo has to run out, then she'll do that. And I'm going to eat my bagels some of the time. While she's talking, I'm going to take advantage of that. This is like luxury for me. It's not 3 hours of just straight Susie. So we're so happy to be doing this. So wait for your questions because we're going to have like a start point, just like I do for Friday Night Tarot. And you don't have to do the yes or no question thing as much. But just try to keep it in a parameter that we can answer everybody within 2 or 3 minutes. So again, we can't look into like the next 3 months because that's a little bit too complex.
I'm so glad to see everybody. Yay.
Yes. And hi, Mary and Venus. Oh, hi, Anya. Doretha, we have Adva here, of course, Juan.
Yes.
Where would we be without Juan in this community? We have Stacy and Jupiter and Renata and May, Elizabeth,
Valerie,
Monique. Hi, Neela, Amber, TS. Hello, TS from Spain. Hi, Lindsay and Annika, of course, and Planet. And I saw Pranjit here before. Alexandra. I feel like the romper room lady. This is my favorite part. And then I'm not going to say too many more hellos because for anybody who's on a short amount of time, we want to get you to get to Connie Jo. So I know Adva is on a time limit and she is asking how can she get in touch with her guides. So I'm going to let you, we can both answer that, but I'm going to let Connie Jo go first. I'm going to buy my bagel.
I think the best way to get in touch with your guides for me is, when you're just waking up from sleeping but you're not quite awake yet. You're kind of like still in that dream state. And that's, to me, the best time to just say, are you there? Come talk to me. I think, or if you're not in touch with your guides, that's the best time to say, who are you? What's your name? Because I think when we're in that state, there's still enough of the unconscious going on that we are able to take it in, because when we're fully awake, we're looking for things that sometimes maybe we don't hear as well that when we're in that sleepy state. But Adva, I just want to tell you real quick, I had a vision for you when right before Susie and I started, and you were at a train track and the caution lights were starting to come on, the train was coming, and you were going to try to cross it anyway, and the bars were coming down and everything. I was like, no, no, don't cross it yet. Don't do it yet. Stay, wait, just wait. And I don't know what that means exactly, but I hope that it means something to you.
I think that's very fitting because Abda and I had a reading very recently. And so I think that vibes with what I was saying to her as we were getting off the session. We're just going to go down the line. I want to say one other thing before I answer my end of that question. Guys, everyone's internet is different. Connie Joe even sees questions at a different, she sees the chat at a different speed than I see.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be my computer. I'm going to go in a row how I can see it on my side. I promise no one's getting skipped. So please don't spam with the same question again and again, because it doesn't allow us to get to as many people, which is totally the goal.
Oh, and
Any
something
other
else. I'm
Sorry.
sorry, Susie. I was just going to say something else, Adva, that sometimes if you're not sure that you're speaking with your guides or they're with you, you know, they'll give you a sign if you ask. I mean, not a sign like flashing lights coming on, but show me something. Show me the number 1111 two or three times today. Show me that you're there, and they'll answer.
Yeah. So my answer to how do we get in touch with our guides is not that different. Although I will say I have a hard time identifying that in between awake and dream. My Gemini brain hits the ground before my eyeballs open. So I'm already usually thinking about what I have to do that day or whatever. I am thinking about my dreams as well. And that, I think, as a Cancer, occupies my mind so deeply, trying to figure out what that was about and if there were messages in my dreams. So for me, it's a little different, although I think Connie Joe's way works for most people. And for me, it's just to sit and to take a deep breath and say hi. I'll just go, hi, hi guides. And I will normally feel some kind of physical difference. It may come through as chills. It may come through as um, uh, whatever it is for you. If you continually say hi and you get the same physical, it's science, it's data. If you continually say hi to your guides and breach, the conversation and start the conversation with them, and you get the same physical reaction again and again and again, then you're going to know that's me connecting with my guides. You can also, I do love the signs. I feel like if there's any frustration around are you getting your guides? And I've said this before in other shows, but by all means, ask them, tingle my left side, tingle my right side. I ask my guides all the time. If I'm talking and my right ear rings, I know that I have to stop what I'm doing and take a look at my surroundings to make sure that I'm safe. If my left ear rings, then I know I just said something that was the reason that person was brought in front of me. I just said something that I'm supposed to expand upon or focus on within a session or for myself, whatever the case may be. So you can ask your guides to give you physical signs on different sides of your body. Use your body like the operation guy and be like, take out my kidney. No, give me a tingle on the side. When you feel that. The other thing is that I'm going to put them up on the thing, Connie Joe, as we go. It'll make it.
Okay.
The other
Yeah,
thing is, if you want to know your guide's name, you can take a pendulum and say, Hi, I'd like to know your name. Is there 3 letters in your name? And wait till you get a yes. Keep going. Is there 4 letters in your name? So then if there's 5 letters in your name, you can ask them, is it A? Wait till you get a yes for each letter of the alphabet. If it's driving you crazy to know their name, you can do that. And just, it's it's kind of like a Ouija board in that way, like, but you can go through um and so there's lots of different ways. Let's get to the next question. I saw another one. Okay, the lovely gifted, and most of you do. This is a you got hot noodles. I'm jealous. This is a community of very gifted people. So
Yeah.
Letha
Yeah.
wants to know, please explain. I'm gonna let that one for you.
So Chiron is the wounded healer. A lot of times when we have Chiron in the 12th house, we're not aware of exactly what it was that wounded us. But because it's in Aries, you know, usually I can even see that being a past life, like as a warrior. And you feel that wound from that past life, but you're not sure why. You feel like you're still supposed to fight for something. Aries is ruled by Mars. That's the warrior sign. But in the 12th house, it could be hidden from you. But on the other hand, when you're able to grasp what Chiron means, if you think, okay, well, this is probably what the wound is. I think the 12th house is one of the best houses for healing, for being able to heal other people with Aries and maybe through your actions, like physical healing. I think with Chiron in the 12th.
Mhm.
But I think the 12th house is one of the best places once we're able to see it because it sits behind the ascendant. Susie and I talk about this all the time. So you don't notice it as much as the other planets that you can see right away. So I just believe that because it's the warrior, that Chiron in the 12th, you feel like you have to fight for something, but it's usually something spiritual, or it's something that you're not aware of until you're a little bit older, or that you really want to get in touch with what that wound might have been. And it could
Right.
have been a wound, a spiritual wound, where someone, this is just an example, in church hurt your feelings, or someone told you you don't have gifts, or someone insinuated that something was wrong with you in some way, that, oh, that mental thing going on. So I think that all of those are kind of part of the wound for the 12th house. I just think it's a very powerful placement, to use it for healing.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything Connie Joe just said. And what's interesting for me is that through a trauma lens, my humble opinion, and I know that I have said in private sessions, and I'm sure once I say this, I'll see it in other places on the internet. But I believe that a lot of people that struggle with gifts they could not prove, undiagnosed empaths, and then you combine that with real I don't want to always say severe, but some pretty harsh trauma in childhood, and what you're going to get is somebody that is undiagnosed as an empath actually, and is absorbing not just the trauma they're receiving from their environment, but everybody else's pain that
Mm-hmm.
caused them to inflict the trauma. And that is when I tend to see people who may have self-medicated in their life. And so coming into the understanding of those gifts later in life, when it comes into being the healer, is very powerful, because those are the people that help lift others up from the deepest, darkest recesses where we feel we cannot crawl out of.
I
Um,
agree.
I think also that Chiron in the 12th, very powerful. And in Aries, you may have had to fight for your own little safety when you were a child. Yeah.
Yep.
Um, I'm sorry I made somebody hungry. I'm always talking about food. Okay, marry the Aries. Okay, the new moon. Um,
I think that one's yours, Suze. You're good
okay.
at the moon stuff.
Okay. Well, um, so manifestation. I mean, if you want to talk moons and moon phases, I'm trying to get Connie Joe to write a book about moon phases and how it affects women and your progressed moon phase and how you don't have to be fearful because the one progressed moon phase, the same situation, and we have cyclical situations, which we do, breakups or this or that or some, and financial things, but like you may handle it completely different in one progressed moon phase than another. And I want Connie Joe to do this. There's nobody more brilliant about the moons than Connie Joe. When it comes to like what to do during a new moon, I think that's why she's passing it over
Yes.
to me. I just want to make it clear that you're like a Proust scholar on the moon. So healing, success with work, and dream home. So you can manifest anything you want. Obviously, when the new moon hits your fourth house, that's going to give it a little extra pizzazz if you're trying to do anything about the home, real estate, uh, healing family, healing generational, cycles. But anytime you have a new moon, that is a good time to understand that it is a new beginning, and also to it's really understand that it means that a door closed not too long before because you had a full moon before you had a new moon. So
Mhm.
something had to close to start new. So one of the best ways for me to manifest is to look what I learned from that last full moon cycle. What do I not want to take with me while I'm manifesting this new stuff? Write it down. You could fold it inward, put it under your pillow. It's a great time to charge your crystals, your water, anything you want. You can put it on a windowsill if you live in an apartment and you can't just leave stuff outside because crazy people are going to come pick it up. It,
Mhm.
you know, you, it's really a good time to take in that energy, but taking the time before the new moon hits to really think about what I want. This I want A, B, C, and D. The last time I wanted A, B, C, and D, I was still hanging on to D, E, and F. So how do I let go of D, E, and F so I can really powerfully manifest that A, B, C? I hope that made sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. You want to take that one? I feel
Yeah.
like I do this all the time, so I'm going to let Connie Joe have fun. And by the way, I am going to put the recipe up on the community page because people asked the other day. It's a protein bagel, homemade. Threw it in the oven this morning while I was in the shower.
I'm getting a yes that you have already physically met them.
Mm.
Yeah. Actually, I'm getting the high priestess for that yes. So that's kind of interesting because perhaps they don't want you to know that yet. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but I think you've already met them.
Well, I like that for you, Amber. Okay, we have Neela. Hi, Neela. I have my first Saturn return on the 7th, 8th. Um, Mars, Pisces, Saturn opposite the sun. Okay.
Oh. Okay. Because I have my Saturn in Pisces as well. Because Pisces has a lot to do with our belief systems. It was once ruled by Jupiter and what we have faith in. And I think when Saturn is in Pisces, it tests us for what do you really believe? What do you really have faith in? What is it that you really can believe in? And I think what we can really believe in is ourselves, and that we're spiritual beings that are here for a reason. And I think the best way to handle that return is to realize that the Saturn return will bring a certain amount of fear, that first one, only because we're thinking, I'm almost 30 years old. What am I doing with my life? Oh crap, I'm almost fucking 30. What am I going to do? And it brings this fear a little bit sometimes that we haven't done enough or there's not enough structure. So I think the best thing to do is take a deep breath and realize it's going to be okay and that you probably have done enough. And if you haven't done enough, then start putting in places, put the pieces of the puzzle in there so that you can get that part of your life worked out where you don't need to fear getting older or being 30 or what this Saturn return will bring. Because Saturn, although it can bring doubt, fear, delays, it can also bring a lot of rewards if we do the work. So it's kind of about doing the work too. You have
I
something to that?
Yeah, I just want to add to that. So I feel like the Saturn return always feels kind of crappy because there's a lot of pressure on people when they're like 15 in high school to figure out their whole life. You
Mm-hmm.
gotta, you go to vocation day and you are, pressured into, oh, and if your grades aren't good, you don't know who's had trauma, how that interrupted their education. So they'll look at somebody and say, well, your grades aren't good, maybe you go to trade school, whatever. Everybody's so focused on what you should be doing and how you should have your whole life figured out by like 20, that we're so stuck in that, like, we think doing the work, like, yes, being responsible, but I think that we think that like doing the work is just following the path that we're told we have to. Um, and I think what happens is if that doesn't align with where we're supposed to go, um, we feel that in the Saturn return. So
Mm-hmm.
doing the work can also be about being honest, where I feel like Saturn holds you responsible. And
Mm-hmm.
when things hold you responsible, often when we think about somebody being held responsible, it's for when they weren't honest about something. We want to see people held responsible in public court, or because they were dishonest or inauthentic. And so the more you can be authentic um, about who you are, what you want, and what you're participating in that you hate, that's usually what I feel like some of the bite is um, around that
And
time.
and also with your sun in Virgo making that opposition, you may go back and forth. It's almost like you've got to give in to that Pisces side and just believe that you're doing the right thing. Because I can tell you right now, with a Virgo sun, you probably already have all those details down pat. You probably already have a lot in order already. You just have to believe in yourself and believe that things are going to work out with that Saturn.
Yeah. It's easy for Virgos to like know how to deal with the details, but it's looking inside because we're so worried about servicing others about whether that's actually aligning. Uh
Mhm.
if so when you think about also being held accountable, think about being held accountable to your higher self and not just the people that told you that this is what your life should look like. Um so we have Elizabeth. Will I have a stable job soon? Soon, I'm going to do soon for like the next 4 months. Okay. Because when you guys ask soon, universe is ancient. It could see soon as a year from now when you want it to be a week from now. If you give us time parameters, that's helpful. Lovely, lovely DeRay. I saw your question. We actually already answered that in a lot of detail in the beginning. So why don't you throw in a new question, my love, so that this way I know that's not till later. You didn't ask, but I can see too. I can see over there. I feel like yeah, you might get it in sooner than you think.
Mhm.
I've got the Prince of Swords, which means I think it's going to come in a little faster than you think. And I'm getting a yes from the pendulum. Elizabeth, um, let us know and good luck with that. What's the part of 29 degree of Saturn in Aquarius when it's your Saturn return?
Well, I mean, the 29th degree is the critical degree. But I think as far as the Saturn return is concerned, it's more like what I just answered for the last question. But Saturn in Aquarius acts a little bit different. Actually, Saturn likes to be in Aquarius. It was the ancient ruler of Aquarius and likes to be there. So there's a certain stability to Aquarius, I think, because it's a fixed sign. And even though it's at the 29th degree, you may feel like it's more critical that you get these things done that come into your Saturn return. It's like I said, there's kind of this fear and this doubt. Can I do this? It's almost like you have, if you haven't grown up, you have to grow up, because Saturn is like pushing it in your face. And I think at the 29th degree, it can be even a little bit more so. But as I said, Saturn likes Aquarius. So just embrace that structure that Saturn wants to give. That's the best thing I can say for any Saturn return. It's never easy, but I think when we let go of the fear and the doubt and we just embrace it, okay, we're getting older, but we can do this. And I know there's a lot of reasons that everybody could come up with why they can't do this, but don't let that one point in your life be the scary thing that keeps you from forging forward with things, especially in Aquarius.
Yeah, Aquarius is about innovation, and if Saturn is about holding us accountable, and Aquarius is a sign of the humanitarian.
Yeah.
I would venture to say that most of the people in this chat um, already operate as humanitarians. And so, like, if you are being, how are you being? We're going to see that too with Saturn and Pisces in the collective. How are you caring and like unconditionally like loving your brother on earth kind of thing? There's going to be consequences for being selfish. When it's unkind to others. So like, Aquarian is the humanitarian, and it's progress and innovation. So in my humble opinion, I feel like where you are, exactly what Connie Joe said, we can't help change. Change shows up to our door. Uranus shows up to our front step, whether we are trying to call it in or not. And so then it's how we deal with each thing without attachment, leaning into the change, because you're not going to stop the world on its axis. You're not going to stop universal motion. Um, if the point that it's already there, you can't go back and change how it got. So how are you leaning into the change? How are you doing without judgment on yourself
Mm-hmm.
and attachment to whatever the thing is that's being changed? That is going to make a huge difference on how that moment feels for you.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay. Oh, Adva, I think that's what we talked about yesterday. I will email you. That's definitely, do we need to be specific when asking for a sign from your guides? I am very specific. Make my
Yeah.
left arm tingle. When I'm doing a reading, I have like four parts. We all have four parts of our heart, but how I learned, was that they would put a thought in my head. I would feel one part. It's like I have a mother's heart. I have like actual chest pain. I have like anxiety. I have four different parts in my chest that like feel like they have different sensations. You will just develop it. Just keep talking to them. Like any good relationship, it's the communication, and you can't just wait for them to show up. Also, your angels and your people, you have a team. They're bored. Give them a job to do. Talk to them. Ask them questions. They can't. And especially like if you're asking, angels have to be like, they're just sitting around waiting for you to tell them to do something, because they have to be asked. They're not just going to intervene on your behalf without you actually asking, and that's important. Okay. Hello, this is May. Um, who's also a very gifted soul. Okay. Because you have access to me often, I'm going to give you access to Connie Joe for this question.
This is going to sound so simplistic, but honestly, using them. Use them with your family. Use them with your coworkers. Use them every day. You know, you know what? Let me tell you this. Like, you're coming up to a stop sign or a red light and it turns green, and something inside you says, wait, don't go yet. And sure enough, somebody runs the red light. It's learning to use your metaphysical gifts in everyday situations. You know, um, your kids may not like this if you have children, but use them on your kids. It's like the more you use your gifts, no matter what it is, the better and stronger they'll be. So even ask your guides in the morning, or when you wake up in the morning, say, um, okay, today I want to use my gifts all day long. So bring on the messages, bring on the help me, Susie.
Telepathy.
Yes, bring it, bring it, bring it. And I know that's a simple answer, but I really think the more you use them in your everyday life, the more they'll surface.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because we use them when we're young, but we don't think of it. Like when you show up to your best friend's house to walk for school and you're both wearing almost the exact same outfit and you never had a conversation about it. Those kind of things, that is telepathy. And the reason that it happens so easily with people that we talk to. And Connie Joe and I today text each other at the same exact time. And what was funny is I answered the question that she then was still typing. And
Yeah.
my answer came before her question. So like, anybody that you look for the synchronicities. But the other thing I want to say is, and I hope that Connie Joe will want to hop in once in a while. I'm going to start something. Give me until end of March, maybe, to start it. Maybe beginning of April. Maybe we should do it on the 21st. Every 8 weeks, I would like to have a guest, one of you that really is at a place where you feel like you would like to practice your ability to pull cards for people. It's easier because when you know people, we tell you to start on somebody you know, but then you're like, but I already knew that about them, right? So if you work on strangers, and it will be a safe place, no one will be allowed to heckle you, tell you that's absolutely wrong. We will have criteria for either they can give feedback that it was correct or just thank you for your time. But I would like to start creating a place where people can safely exercise gifts and start to practice them. It's a muscle. If you can't just wake up and play piano, even if you have a natural gift, you still,
Yeah.
people with the natural gifts practice the most.
You know what, Suze? Do you know that I started reading tarot? That my husband and I, we went to this group, and it's where the tarot readers practiced on each other. And it was so cool because there was no judgment, no anything. But there was like six of us. And my husband didn't read for anybody, but he did let some people read for him. But it was just what you're saying is exactly right. You've got to, start somewhere.
Mhm.
And
Yeah. I mean, and there are Facebook groups and stuff like that, but some of them are not as regulated as far as like, nice places to feel comfortable. So you all know how I am. Uh once you're in that protective Cancer, Aries moon, out of bounds Mars will not let you be troubled or hurt by somebody else while I have the community here. Okay. So, Anya, highest best of our journey is the idea that I got yesterday. So you want to know if the idea that you got can actually become a reality still within 2023. Okay, Connie Joe's grabbing some cards.
I don't got my pendulum for this one.
Yes, my client Samantha, who was wandered into my channel one day, and then she booked a reading, and she is also a reader, and that was the person that inspired. So she will be the first guest, and then we'll go after that. And if you're interested, email me.
I got the biggest yes. I got a huge yes. Not one that just sat there, but it went right away.
I love that for Anya.
Me too.
Okay.
I actually have this one, Susie, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
I saw this in the chat earlier, and this is what I felt like I was given for you, Zoe. You have a long line of ancestry in this life and previous lives of people that are very gifted psychically. And I think the only thing that your guides want you to know is that it's in your blood. Use your gifts. You have some psychic gifts. You really do. And I think more than anything, that's what your guides want you to know right now, that it, I've got chills. It runs through your history, not just this life, but other lives as well.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. And what I'm hearing is to unhear the noise. And you're supposed to know what that means. Unhear the noise. And it makes me want to close my eyes and do that. Oh, this new fella wants to ask a question. Do we know him?
I don't know who that is. I love Juan.
We love him.
I think absolutely your cat can be your guide.
Cats usually are like, there's a
I mean,
universal
my
cat
cats have been my guides for sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Familiars, your guides. Oh my gosh. Yes, yes, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Especially familiar is what I'm feeling for you, Juan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so excited that you even asked a question.
I am too.
I want you to relax, eat chips, throw beads on somebody. It's Mardi Gras, isn't it? Or is it
Yeah.
a donut? Is it the day to eat Fat Tuesday? Or are you supposed to be eating? That's a Tuesday, so it's not today. But I want you to relax today and not moderate and ask questions.
Alien.
Hello, Nicole. Okay, here we go. So North Node conjunct Venus and Pluto in the second house. That's a nice money. You have Venus and Pluto conjunct your North Node in the second house.
I think anytime the North Node is conjunct Venus, that we are given extra help in this lifetime to get to our North Node. And does it say what sign it's in?
Jazzy D, can you tell me? I can tell you. She'll comment because I have the other side of the end of the chat over on my phone. Please let
Oh,
us know what sign it's in. I also think when you have, my humble opinion is that when Venus and Pluto are conjunct and conjunct the North Node, you will, like Connie Joe said, be given extra help. And it's in Libra, Connie Joe, and you'll be given power and possibly access to money and resources. So if it's conjunct your North Node, for you to have that full alignment of sweet spot of doing the thing that feels like you don't need to retire from it, and you're aligning with your higher mission, your spiritual mission, being responsible with it. And I know you, so I know you will. But for anybody listening, that is, to me, here goes my Marvel quotes. I'm sure it wasn't originally a Marvel quote. With great power comes great responsibility, is how I,
In Libra, especially.
yes,
Because I feel like with it being in Libra, part of your North Node mission is to learn to balance your life and balance your life with other people. You know, Aries is the warrior. Libra isn't necessarily the peacemaker because, like, Saturn loves Libra, but it's the one that keeps things in balance, keeps things fair. Um, so when you're able to benefit others with what you've acquired in this lifetime, being fair and being harmonious with it is going to be a big part of that.
agreed. And you have the power of influence too if it's in Libra. So
Hmm.
like, just you and I want to say Virgo rising here. Um but if not Virgo, then Leo. But I want to say Virgo for you. But you know, there's just a lot, like I would take it as a compliment.
Hmm.
I would take it as a compliment from universe to have that placement, because they knew that your ethics would allow you to execute that placement,
Hmm.
and that you wouldn't use it to, and I talk about this all the time and I want to say this to the whole chat. For those that had people overpower them, use their authority, their if you were a child, if it was the fact that they were an adult and you were powerless as a child, that they were bigger and you were smaller. Anytime that you have experienced trauma through somebody using their power in a nefarious way, those are the same people who worry about having power or are constantly concerned with the ethics of that. And it feels weighty. It feels, but I promise you, most people that are given tons of power, and if if it has anything to do with your North Node, and especially when you have like a ton of Virgo, you will not use it irresponsibly and like to de-stress about that fear.
One more thing, because it's in your second house, you've been given a talent. So with Venus and Pluto and the North Node all together in that second house, you've been given immense talents. You've been given the talent of transformation, the talent of love and beauty, and the talent of also direction, which way you're going. So using the talents that you've naturally been given for good is also part of your calling.
Yeah. And it is Virgo rising. She answered it is Virgo rising.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're not going to misuse that. But you should step into it and not be like, that's icky. I think the thing is too, is that people have seen power use that in the gross, horrible way to cause other people pain in any way. Just are like, oh, people in powerful positions. I don't need to be there. I don't need to be the boss, because that's ick energy. But
Mhm.
it won't be when it's yours. It won't be when it's yours.
Right.
Alexandra, I'm thinking this is supposed to say like when we have transits to our chart ruler, like if you're a Taurus or a Libra rising, do the transits to Venus have more impact than other placements, is kind of how I'm reading into that question. Um, so that's how we're going to answer it. Um, oh, I think it's transit by transit. You have to look at everything that's like, is it a one little transit? Is it a 9 car pile up on your chart? Like, I just think that, yes, it's going to have impact, but there are other things that maybe won't involve your, um, I don't think my Mercury was involved at all when my mom passed or when I had my kids. So like that's my chart ruler, but there are some really uh, good, bad, indifference. The biggest impacts during transits in my life weren't always involving my Mercury. But you go ahead,
Well,
Connie. Jo.
oh, I love Alexandra. Okay, so there are planets in our chart that hold more weight than others. Like if you look at your chart, like the closest aspect, whether it be opposition, conjunction, square, the one that's closest, look at those planets. As the transit happens, the planets that are in, if they hold a lot of weight in you, it's probably going to affect you more. It's like, okay, for example, Neptune in my chart doesn't hold a lot of weight. I don't have a lot of aspects to it. So when I have a Neptune transit, even though it's could be a big deal chart, it's not. So I
Mhm.
think you have to look at what holds the most weight in your chart to see how that transit is really going to affect you. I hope that made sense.
Yes. She's saying thank you for the detailed answer to her questions. The North Node conjunct Pluto, Jazzy D. Um, so I'm just looking. So we have a question from Princess JV. She's a sweetheart. My moon sits 6 degrees of Aries and sits 23 degrees of her person's sun. And I think we would have to know the house to really, because 6 degrees of Aries and 23 degrees of Pisces in is not close enough in orb to really
Oh,
be.
but you know what it does though? If your person's sun is in Pisces and your moon is in Aries, it effectively makes a new moon.
That
It
is a.
it creates a new moon together. So that's already a nice aspect in synastry when the sun and the moon actually create that new moon. Improving it, I don't know how to answer that with the information I have, but I do know that it could be new beginnings. And
Yeah.
perhaps maybe that means that you're supposed to, both of you, forgive anything that's happened in the past and start over.
And also if you can comment with the house, because then I'll see that and can, because that would be, I think, pretty helpful to know what house your moon and his sun sits in. Okay. We have, what should I expect from my Saturn return? Oh, Saturn return in the 10th.
Well, when your Saturn return is occurring in the 10th house, that is Saturn's house. That's the house of Capricorn. It is the house of Saturn. So I think you already have a responsibility. It's almost a responsibility to the world because the 10th house is your most public house. So it's almost like your Saturn return is kind of happening in the public eye. And it's not just your career, but your entire direction in life lies in that, what you really want to do with your life lies in that 10th house. So, with just being able to focus on what you what in your heart you really want to do, what you're really called to do in that 10th house is going to be very important for you. And Pisces Sun 24 degrees and Pisces Mercury 1 degree. And with the Pisces planets, it could be something very humanitarian, very spiritual, all of those things. I'd have to see your whole chart to know all of that, but I think the 10th house holds a lot of importance and weight because it's our most public house.
Okay. I was pulling cards for Lindsay while you were answering that. So I'm not going to contribute because I was kind of focused on this, just so we can get to as many people as possible. Um, I have you walking out of your current situation. And then I double check that with pendulum, just because they like quiet hire you to do more than your job without, I feel like you're taken advantage of at work. Um, I have the 10 of wands. I think it's like the end of the journey there because they just keep loading like the work on you, and they don't, I'm not getting that they really appreciate you, and I don't think it's a good work life balance. um I got another card that's really interesting. I got the death card in reverse, and it's specifically this one. And so I feel like something else you either thought of doing a while back, an opportunity that you thought was completely past, or you didn't think that you could take advantage of in this lifetime. Um, I think that you might have some opportunities open up soon, but this this is whatever you were doing has it's time to put the burden down.
Mm.
Hello, hello, Ariana. Hi, Samantha. Okay, Nikki. I was just going to say it was Nikki's birthday not that long ago. She is an Aquarius sun. Oh, I don't think there was a question there. I thought there was. Okay. If you want to ask a question though, Nikki, you can. Can you know more about your fourth house Virgo moon? 7 degrees.
Moon in the fourth house really cares about their family and their home. I wouldn't necessarily say their home bodies, but home is important to them because it has to feel good because it's the moon. You have to feel good in your surroundings that you're in all the time. But another thing, when the moon is in the fourth house, I think you really pick up psychologically, like psychically, ancestral traits that have been carried on for lifetimes in that fourth house. It's like you pick up, there's a sensitivity in that fourth house to things that have happened in the past. And even though it's not in Cancer, it's in Virgo, but you may pick up little details about things that have happened in your past ancestry, or actually be very curious about it and, go on a website like ancestry.com and actually try to find out things. But I think when the moon, especially in Virgo, is in the fourth house, you need things around you to be comfortable, to be Virgo wants things to be as they want them to be. It doesn't mean that every Virgo out there is organized, because I know Virgos that are really not. But you have to have things in your order, your home, where you
Right.
feel comfortable.
Yeah. There are rooms that I have to be organized in, and other rooms that I don't care if I'm organized in. It's the detail where I care or where I feel I will judge myself if I don't. Um I will also say, for me, I think Virgo moon in the fourth house means you are probably here to, and it depends on how close that is to that fourth house cut, to that
Mhm.
cusp and to the IC. Um, but for me, one of the cycles you're here to break is you might play the monologue of an overly critical childhood. And so you are here to break, for me, you're here to break that pattern of the pressure put on the child to be anything than what that child feels about themselves. There's a possible criticism. I don't. This part is a little harder in a public forum because I don't want to insult anybody's parents. But I feel like for sure you're here to break. moon in the fourth house is usually here to like hard break um, some generational cycles that maybe aren't the healthiest. And the inner critic is something you're supposed to heal.
And can I just say, don't be hard on yourself. Virgo moons can be
Right,
so
the inner
hard on
critic.
themselves.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, you are probably harder on yourself than anybody is on
right.
you. You expect more from yourself. So I would just say give yourself a little break.
Yeah. And that's what I meant by like the monologue that's playing is like you were taught to do that as a child. I would put, yeah. So Aries sun, when will you have a good year again? Ariana, the beautiful Aries Empress.
Oh my gosh, this year should be a good year. I mean, Jupiter is
Yeah.
going through Aries right now. I would think that would definitely help.
And as an Aries moon, I will tell you that we have Jupiter going through our seventh house right now when you are a Virgo rising.
Mhm.
So that's lovely, especially depending on your degrees. Um, if you have uh Pisces on that seventh house cusp, you're going to have Saturn, which is commitment, coming into your seventh house right after Jupiter goes over your moon. Not so shabby. Um, so this year could be great. Just between July 23rd and September 5th. Just be careful. All that glitters will not be gold. That Leo Venus retrograde will be trining your sun and your moon. You will feel it strongly. Don't get sucked in to the appearances of things because it will not have the value um, that your heart and will really be invested to have. Okay. Moanne. Hello,
What
my
she
love.
just said was so good. She just made a comment, Susie, about the Virgo moon, and it was, if you can find it, it was really good.
Hold on one second.
Like
Also,
the
Mel Artista. I agree that she says, I wish everyone could all meet each other. I love the soulful group. I won't be in person, but when I get to 1,000, I'm having a Zoom block party.
woo!
It's gonna be lit. It's gonna be off the chain. it's it will be a lot of fun. So in that way, everybody who wants to be on camera can be on camera. I don't know. Well, I don't think all 1,000. I don't think all 1,000 will show up. I'm finding but I am going to do. Stacy just said Zoom party. Yes, that's it's. I
Yes,
will.
the fourth house moon person aren't homebodies, they embody their home. I just love it.
I could not find that, so I'm glad you did. Okay. All right. So this is from Moanne. Oh no, Monique. Um. He. Susie Connie Joe, did the roommates took in last year try to sabotage and come between me? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't even have
Hmm.
to pull it hard. I feel it. Yes.
Unfortunately. Hello, Wayne. Okay, looking for another. Hi, Gemini love. I'm so sick of the same old love. What you need to know for the next step, Stacy. Sweet Stacy. Let me pull a card. You wanna see what you get while I'm pulling a card?
Okay.
You know, we just had Neptune Venus conjunction too. So like lost can, that can feel really dreamy and nice, but it also feels like you're up in the ethers and not on the ground. um I mean, Neptune and Venus, but Neptune and Venus and Pisces. It's so it could you could just need to get grounded. um yeah, so I have the 3 of Cups in reverse. Looking Understanding your own interdependence and understanding that I think you feel like you need training wheels somewhere is what I'm being shown. And you need less training wheels than you think you need. Um, uh, if it's like waiting for a sign or waiting for something more structured to come in, um, you need less of that than you think you do. I think you need to, like, I know this sounds crazy, but like do that like 6 point productivity thing where you just make a list every day of the things that you want to do. Go by your gut. And then if you don't get something done the one day, just carry it over. Um, you're going to increase your productivity by the end of 30, 60 days doing that, because you will not want to be, when you get up to 9 things on your day instead of 6, because you kept carrying over, you're going to increase your productivity. And, but like the trust in yourself and the understanding of what you can accomplish, once you catch up and start taking it 6 days, they're showing me that that is excellent for you, because you need to have the faith in yourself. Like,
Mhm.
you're a doer, but you don't know you're a doer. Did you want to
I
add
agree.
anything?
Well,
Okay.
I just agree with you. I got the Eight of Pentacles. Um, I think Susie's right. You feel like you need
Well,
those
the Eight
training.
of Pentacles makes sense for the productivity list. Yeah,
Yeah.
for
You
sure.
got this, Stacy. You've got it. I already
Yeah.
know you
You just
got it.
need to know that you got it. And that productivity list will just, you need it tangible in front of you to believe in yourself. So that productivity list is going to create that new mindset around what you're capable of. I love this question.
I do too.
Go ahead, Connie Joe.
Okay, so there was a point I had a scheduled C-section with my daughter. And I asked my teacher, my astrology teacher, I said, so did that make a difference that I actually kind of picked the time she would be born? She said, no, it didn't make a difference at all. The doctor could have been late. The hospital could have closed. There could have been an earthquake. Anything could have happened to stop the baby. The baby is going to come when soul decides it wants to come.
Mm-hmm.
They already have their chart, their destiny mapped out. So I don't think the old due date was important, because I think the baby came when he or she decided it was time to come.
Yeah. And I mean, I was gung ho. I'm allergic to pain medicine. So I was like, in that case, I was like the Lamaze class star pupil. My teacher even said to me, like, in 20 years, you're the one person I like have zero doubt you're going to be like, I did it. I killed it. And then I had a breech fully extended 9 pounds, 6 ounce, 2 weeks early child, that I did not get to do natural. We tried all kinds of external versions, all kinds of everything, every, you name it, every trick, every homeopathic trick, every doctor trick, everything, so I could have a natural birth. And then on top of it, because I am allergic to pain medications and I have a weird reaction, they could not get me numb. So he was supposed to be born at like 7 something, and he was born at almost 9. And
Yeah,
that, yeah. So like you can't, like, he came when he wanted to come.
I
Like,
just saw a comment too. Real American 44. My son was a scheduled C-section and he came 2 days before that. Yeah, I mean, it's going to happen. Susie's absolutely right. It's going to happen when that soul decides it's time for them to come into the world.
yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Um, and somebody else agrees you should write a book. Okay. I'm gonna put up Nicole's question first, and then we're gonna go um back to the question about Chiron. Go ahead. Um,
Hmm.
I feel this one already, but I'm gonna let Connie Joe
You
take
know, you go ahead. I'm going to pull some cards while you.
it. You have to get rid of the who am I. Who am I to think I can do that job? Who am I to advise people? Who am I to be in that place of I still think the thing that we talked about probably close to a year ago, because I do remember, people, when I'm in sessions with you, what we talk about. I think that is a brilliant career path for you. And I'm not going to say that out loud, but I think you moving forward, if that's the piece I'm focused on, the moving forward part is about getting rid of the but who am I to do that job? That might be, I'm thinking too far out my scope.
I couldn't agree more. Nicole, I think she's exactly right. And I did pull the Knight of Pentacles. Knight of Pentacles is the slowest knight, but he's also the most reliable. So even though things seem like they're kind of taking forever to move along, Spirit's with you. You're moving, whether
Oh,
you know it or not.
yeah, she's super psychic.
I know. I know. I love
Okay.
it.
So I'm just gonna make this easy. Oh, that is Chiron. That is Chiron. It should be on your chart.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not on your chart, you can go, if you got a chart from Soul Navigation, it's on your chart. If Connie Joe and I worked with you and you screenshot it or whatever during the session, it's on your chart. If you're looking on astro.com or Astro Theme or any of those, you go into like customized chart and go into asteroids. I promise you, it is the most used asteroid. It will be, you won't have to go looking for it.
Mm-mm.
But that's how you find it.
Yeah.
Zach, hello, Zach. Can you get a message from your guides? I want to use a different deck. You can take it if you want. I do this all day, like Captain
All
America.
right.
I do this all day long. I'm going to see the new Marvel movie later. I'm pretty excited. Oh, April's in the house. Hi, April, my love.
Zach, why don't you think you hear from your guides? Because they're speaking to you a lot. Um, and I think more than anything, they're telling you what you've been thinking about doing and moving towards, maybe in career, or maybe you're actually going to move. But do it. Go forward with that. Keep going forward is what I'm hearing. But I think mainly your guides are like, Zach, hey, I'm always talking to you. Can't you hear me here? So I think they are always talking to you. I do. And just by the way, I do think you're moving forward. Really, I'm feeling career more than anything. Um, or maybe you are moving. I'm not sure. But I also got the Wheel of Fortune upright. And I definitely feel like you have good stuff coming for you.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I feel like this is going to be a good cycle for you because if the Wheel of Fortune represents cycles, this is going to be a good cycle for you. And I would just challenge you to ask your guides for messages because they want to talk to you themselves.
Yeah. So what's funny is I saw a scene, and if you guys have ever been in my collective before, if there's anyone new, buckle up for the shenanigans. My guides like to keep me really humble and show me scenes from like The Jerk, Anchorman, cartoons. So I can't remember the movie. I want to say it was like Mila Kunis or one of those. It was one of those rom-coms. And at the end, uh, the best friend, funny character comes in the end, and kick somebody and they go, what was that for? And they're like, and that's what they were showing me. And it was like, and then I pulled the high priestess, and for some reason I think you're even possibly clairaudient, and you just
Mhm.
think that like I think you're also very smart, and so you know a lot of stuff and you can't decipher like what you know
Yeah.
because of your gathered knowledge
You
and what
think it's
you've seen
you, but
as
it's not.
shadows.
Yeah.
Just trusting. But the other thing is they're asking you to stop. You have an environment where people are still, the saying about like, the small minds talk about other people and like great minds talk about ideas. Um, you have some people that would rather engage in like gossip or talk about like what they saw on Facebook. And there's a hard transition for you to elevate at. That doesn't mean you have to completely ghost all those friends, but you also have to look to like elevate yourself into people who have different mindsets so that your mindset doesn't seem crazy to you.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Okay, here's Moanne. I don't have my glasses on, so that's why I got Moanne and Monique before. Both have natal vertex at 8 degrees in our 8th house. Is there any significance to that? Connie Joe, that is all you with the numerology.
Oh, I definitely think there's significance to that. That both of you have the same vertex, because honestly, it means that fated events that happen will probably happen to you and your son together. Um, or
That's
you'll
not scary
experience,
though. Yeah.
or you'll experience different fated events in different ways. So, as Mercury transits or the vertex, and Mercury is more important in your son's chart, he may experience someone that he can tell everything to coming into his life, or you may experience it in a totally different way. But also, it being in the eighth house, the eighth house is other people's money, it's also inheritance. I would dare say that there's a fair chance that if Uranus makes this transit to that vertex, that you may come into some money. I know that's reaching, but I'm feeling that.
Um Also, you may do well monetarily in this lifetime and leave him to do well or pass along like I don't know. I'm getting like you will pass along something to him, whether it's like in business or so like obviously you'll leave. I know that you have more than one child and that you will leave equally to your children, but there's something about something you will pass to him through money or legacy.
Because he's the oldest. I think she's right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's not for a while though, baby cakes. You're not going anywhere. We're talking about, 150 years down the road. I don't know. I'm living to 102. I told my kids, you better buckle up because I'm just going to get crazier. I'm going to get like less than living. I feel bad for them sometimes. They're the real MVPs. Okay. Um, so this was a 3-part question because it looks like she got interrupted typing. So I'm going to translate. She wants to know what Venus, because I know you also asked Pluto square moon, but we don't do a lot of Pluto in synastry because it's generational. Um, but so to pick a question, let's have Connie Joe answer. What does your Venus squaring somebody else's Venus look like in relationship, possibly?
Okay, so Venus is our self esteem, it's our talents, it's what we love, what we find beautiful. I mean, I once listened to an astrology podcast, and they went on talking about what Venus means for 25 minutes. So it means a lot of things. But I
Hmm.
think when Venus is squaring another person's Venus, first of all, there can be some sexual chemistry there with that, because squares do generate that kind of, you're different than me. You kind of sparring with each other a little bit. It does generate sexual chemistry. On the other hand, you esteem yourselves in different ways. Let's say one is Leo, one is Scorpio. You definitely see things of beauty in different ways. You may enjoy doing different things. The square can be tough, but when it's Venus and Venus, it's
Yeah.
usually, I like going to the movies, but I like playing tennis more.
Hmm.
That kind of thing. What you find beautiful, oh my God, I hate that paint color, but I love it. That is what it kind of boils down to when it's Venus, because Venus is so lovely, even the square is kind of beautiful. You have something to
Um,
add, Suze?
uh, no, I just was gonna say too. You really have to take in the whole chart, and Connie Joe and I say this like ad nauseum when we did our synastry series, but you have to take in the whole chart. Um, because I also think because squares are challenges that we are capable of rising to.
Mhm.
So you could, I mean, it could be challenging again, like if she brought up the fixed signs. If you have an Aquarius, square Scorpio, or Taurus, you could all have a very different idea of what's okay with inside of relationship of like your attachment styles to each other.
Mhm.
But if you had Libra squaring Cancer Venus, that could be somebody coming into your life and showing you the self-esteem you have been unable to access, especially if somebody's Venus is in the 12th house. You know what I mean? So like there's you have to take the whole chart, but there's a plethora of possibilities, but any squares in my humble opinion, squares are challenges that we are capable. It feels a little more harsh in a quick transit. In a synastry, you have time for that square to get comfortable. In a quick transit, yeah, squares feel like what the hell was that? but yes, and you may not be able to like see each other's Venus as far as like, yeah, you don't see the attachment thing from the same point of view, or you're not attracted and you don't understand why, because maybe your Mercury's line up and everything else is like simpatico, but when the Venus is square, but also it could be self-esteem that you didn't know that you needed to have shown to you.
Yeah. Or something as simple as the Aquarius wants to wear the wild hat to the party, and the Taurus is saying, no more conventional, please.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
right. um okay, hi Lioness of Gaia. Okay. Saturn in Pisces too. Nervous, excited to see what it's in the ninth house and it's squaring her. So her Saturn return is also in Pisces, but it's going to be squaring Mercury. Woof. If talk about like accountability as far as what you're saying the truth.
I think a lot of that is your ideas and your thought patterns about where you think you should go or have in line at this time of the Saturn return, like the structure that you think you should have. It butts heads with that Mercury. Okay, so my thought patterns are this, and Saturn saying no, but real structure is this. And it kind of just makes the whole Saturn return a little bit tougher. But because if it's squaring, I'm sure it's in a mutable sign. You've got room to move with the mutable signs. You know, lining up the way you think and the way you perceive things with that Saturn return, the responsibility coming in, kind of feeling like that it's imminent. You've got to do this, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. You have a little bit more room to move with that mutable square than you would if it were a fixed square where you're just simply stubborn about things. And being in the ninth house, this could be about your belief systems. what you have faith in. Saturn's giving you that challenge. What do you really have faith in? Because um, I think that is a lot of what Saturn and Pisces is anyway. What do you really believe in? So try to use your thought pattern. It's like a blending of the thought patterns with the structure and coming to terms with what you really do believe in, what you really do have faith in. What is your philosophy? Go ahead, Susie.
No, I think I just want to be conscious of your time because we did start actually letting people ask questions about an hour ago, because we didn't start right at 1:30, and then we gave the rules and all of that, and then we took a really long time with I think the first question, because it was about the guides, so there was so much to say. But so I think with Connie Joe's consent, I would like to pick out some of the more astrological designed questions for her. And then this way, if at any point she needs to go, I can answer like pulling cards, or I saw a question about like twin flames. Does that sound good to you, Connie Joe?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay. So Vedic is not something we do. I'll let Connie Joe take this.
Well, I don't know a whole lot about Vedic astrology, but I will say this: Neptune on the ascendant is super, there is a super awareness of the spiritual world. There's a super awareness of what's going on, as Susie would say, in the ethers around you. You can pick up on other people's energy so easily, but it can also be deceptive, where you might think things are one way, but you're not seeing it clearly. It's like the rose colored glasses. You may see other people, or you may see yourself because it's on the ascendant through rose colored glasses, not the way other people see you at all. But I think it's a very psychic place to have it, that you can pick up on energy very easily. It's a part of who you are because it's on the ascendant. And if I'm reading this correctly, it's on the 12th house side. So you can easily pick up the energy that's out there. I think it's a very psychic placement, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, how I'm reading the question is that you're 23 in either whole house or Placidus, but tropical, Western tropical astrology, which is different than sidereal, which is different than Vedic. So, but I agree, 23 Pisces, and you probably have gorgeous eyes. I think I said that too last night. There was a lot of people on, but I think I said not last night. That was Friday. That seems like last night. The last 2 days feels like but
Yes, you can appear very ethereal. Neptune
mm,
has an ethereal quality to it, and your appearance might be a bit Neptunian, just kind of ethereal and
yeah.
yeah.
Yes. Okay. And then Nikki had this uh so at 29 degrees Pluto is coming for her sixth house of Capricorn, and it's going to conjunct her 0 degree Aquarius Venus and her, well, I personally don't give 3 degrees to Pluto, but I'll let your sun might feel the Pluto, but I don't think Pluto's feeling your sun. But go ahead, Connie Joe.
Well, what I want to address the most is this conjunction with Venus and Nikki. I don't think, I'm not positive. I'm not sure we've met before, but this is something that I've seen over and over again, that when Pluto conjuncts your natal Venus, it can bring in a soulmate. It can bring in that deep transformation in your love life that you may have been looking for forever. I mean, it can truly bring in that person for you. that transformation in love, in how you see yourself. It could be a transformation in your self-esteem, that you begin to see yourself differently. But I have seen that when Pluto makes that conjunction with Venus, someone very significant can come into your life.
Could that also be money?
Yeah, it could.
Or like
I
the
mean,
power to make money? Not like money dropping
yeah,
like the eighth house, but all of a sudden to be empowered to have a new stream of income almost. Um,
yeah, I think so
especially in
because
the sixth house. Yeah.
mhm, because Venus and Pluto together, they're very powerful. Now there can, but in the meantime, there might be control issues. You know, that Pluto brings its own bag of tricks with him. But the end of the game, really, transformation is that, and transformation in your love life, your self-esteem, or your money is the end game, which I love.
Yes. DeRay, I'm going to do the message from your guides. I'm looking for um, anything super astrological. I also want to say Mary had said that was her ascendant was 23 in Pisces, but 29 in Aquarius, in Vedic. Um, and she said she's been retaining water. That makes me really lean toward your Pisces rising, because with Neptune in Pisces in the first house, if you had a Neptune transit, especially with other things, or like Mars in the first or the sixth house, that absolutely could be because
I
Neptune
agree.
is
Yeah,
right. So,
absolutely.
Duray, I didn't skip you. I just want Connie Joe to dig into the astrological questions, because I know she's having fun because she's not trying to go nowhere.
So let me get this straight, Kate. You've got your Sun, Mercury, Venus, Saturn, and the North Node in Virgo.
Wow.
You're probably really intelligent, one.
Run a
Um,
small country.
very intelligent. You're probably emotionally intelligent as well. Mercury with Venus have a great imagination. Um, you've got a romantic side to you, but then we throw Saturn in there, and you're probably too stinking hard on yourself all the way around. Um, because Saturn with Venus will do that a lot of times, and Saturn with the Sun as well. You can just be way too hard on yourself and not give yourself enough credit for how amazing you are. I mean, this stellium that you have in Virgo is strong. And I just keep hearing intelligence, talent. Is this in your second house? Because I feel like
I
you're
would
very
love to know what house
intelligent.
that is too. I didn't want to interrupt you, but Kate, if you could let us know what house that is in. And also, that is a recipe of others relying on
Oh,
what you
yeah.
provide for them. Um, be very careful when you have that kind of stellium in Virgo, um, especially with Venus. You can make other people money out of serving them instead of like that kind of stellium in Virgo. To me, I just picture you this incredibly intelligent, resilient, resourceful
Mhm.
person that is probably like the one normal person in a town living of energy vampires, as an
Yeah.
exaggeration example. So because there is a service for love language, it's the sixth love language that I've decided. There's the five love language. No, there's six, because is that the weather outside your house?
That's the fighter jets. It's the
Oh,
hundred,
I
and
think
the
we were
fighter
on the
jets feel like
phone.
they're coming into my window. It's so cool. I've been watching them all week.
I
It's
think we were
exciting.
literally on the phone last year at the same exact time.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyway,
so, but yes, I mean, because you're there's supposed to be 5 languages. If you have Virgo placements, there's a 6th love language, and that is service for love. You feel like if you're being useful, and you have to be, I'm just going to say this, any Virgos listening, and I'm getting my full confirmation, just go ahead and say it. When you have Virgo energy, you have to look deep into the recesses of how you see yourself as lovable, and make sure that none of the service that you're doing and things that you do for other people, because you are very useful to them, you almost are like employee for everyone. You're like the best employee ever for everyone in your life, whether you're actually employed by them or not, because it makes us feel lovable, and make sure that you feel like you could do nothing, bare minimum, for those same people, and they would still love you. And that is how you take stock in your life. And that's how you make sure that you're not exchanging love for service in a way of not, it's not beautiful to serve others and be giving, but that you're not worried that you'll be less lovable if you're less useful.
Do you know what? She said a lot of it's in her third house. That makes me wonder if you didn't have to care for siblings at an early age. But I
Mhm.
will say this, when you've got Sun, Mercury, Venus, Saturn, and the North Node in the third house, the possibility of you writing your memoirs, a book, um, publishing something very important, because you have every tool right there. You've got Saturn to give you structure. You've got Venus to give you beauty, imagination. You've got Mercury and the Sun for the intelligence and the data. It's, and the North Node says, wow, you're probably going to write something amazing one day.
You're not kidding. We have sweet and salty. This is Sherry. You know, Sherry. Sherry with a C.
Yeah.
You know, Tracy with the Honda, that's Sherry. Sherry with the C.
Aw. I'm confused.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you probably are torn in many
You're
different
on
directions. For sure. Because it sounds like, if I'm reading this correctly, you're having a reverse nodal return.
it. Mhm.
So you've got the North Node on your South Node and the South Node on your North Node. So, wow, that's pretty accurate, torn in too many different directions. But really, I think what the reverse nodal return shows us more than anything is that both the South Node and the North Node are useful. We can use both of those, that nodal axis, if it's Taurus and Scorpio, the sensual, beautiful, earthly side versus that the deep, watery depths that Scorpio can take you into, and it's trying to balance and experience both. I think more than anything, that reverse nodal return just requires balance in realizing that both nodes are important, not just the North Node, but the South Node is important too.
Yeah. Um, Also, I just want to say, she said it's in the 6th house, the
Mm,
North Node. I feel like we have a lot of 6th house Virgo energy in this room in
we
general,
do.
and Pisces.
We both
Um,
have our North Nodes in the sixth house.
yeah.
You and I
And
both do.
yeah. So okay, and then I'm just looking now. If you feel like you're getting skipped, but we already answered a different question, I'm just trying to get to as many people as possible, because we're probably wrapping up in the next like 10-15 minutes. There's there you I'm gonna let her answer. There's no good or bad in astrology. There's what is put in our chart, that is the helpers for the things that are also put in our charts, the challenges, because you're completely capable of rising to them. But go ahead.
Okay, let me think a second. I think when Saturn and Venus are conjunct, that just means that the energies blend together. That conjunction blends the energies. So Saturn could make you be more careful in who you fall in love with, or who you show affection to. But I think Saturn brings a wisdom to the Venus. I don't think Aries is either good or bad, but if this is in the sixth house, I think Venus prevents you from being a workaholic because Saturn in the sixth house can be a workaholic. I think the Venus there, it almost brings a balance. I'm really glad that you have it in the sixth house actually, because I think it's tougher in the commitment houses like the fifth or the seventh. The sixth house though, it's workable. So like Saturn says, Saturn in the sixth, I'm going to go work out every day. And Venus says, I'd rather eat chocolates than work out. But when they're conjunct like that, you can usually come to a happy medium. You know, okay, I'm going to go work out, but I'm still going to get a piece of chocolate. I think the blending of those energies, especially in the sixth house, in Aries, which is a cardinal sign, it's a get going, let's do this, can be a good thing.
And I can tell you that Aries Venus is like, I love you so much. Like my son has Aries Venus, and
Mhm.
our joke is that if he could skin me and wear me like a coat, he would. He just like he has to plug in. So that Saturn is going to keep you from making the Saturn is going to help you to make much better decisions in reacting to the attractions you have because Aries is a reactor. So yeah.
I agree.
Charlie, do me a favor and just that would be like almost like a whole reading. We would have to like pull up your chart and stuff like that. But I think Uranus in Libra in the seventh, she's asking about a career in psychology. The life purpose thing would probably be like a whole reading. But Venus and Mercury, but the Uranus in Libra is interesting for, I mean,
Wow, you would make
that
a
could
good
be,
judge. um,
I mean, you could do a certain amount of like
you
relationship.
would make a good astrologer. You could marry an astrologer. You could marry a judge, but seventh house. You could have them as a partner. Mercury and Venus in Capricorn, things that are tangible mean a lot to you. You need something that's tangible to hold on to. I think Mercury in Capricorn is very structured in its thinking and able to figure out things pretty quickly and usually be right about it. And with Venus there, it's like the tangibility of things that Venus brings. But psychology, absolutely. I mean, I don't think there's any placements that would not be good for psychology if that's where your heart is. But
Mhm.
Uranus and Libra, um, in the seventh house, boy, it's like double Libra, man. Um, you would make an amazing judge
Yeah.
or lawyer. Oh, you'd be a good lawyer.
So she's got a Scorpio stellium in the fifth. And this is Jacqueline, Jackie.
Hi.
So she changed her name. So on YouTube, but I know who it is. She's nervous. She wants to know how that.
Okay, so the good thing is, here we go. The eclipses are going to be out of your space.
I was just saying all of this Friday.
There's not going to be any more of those humongous changes. Now, yes, change, but not like. Now, I can't remember where, if you have planets at the beginning of Scorpio, because they will be affected as Pluto moves into Aquarius, may give you a few challenges. Let me think, because Saturn is moving into Pisces, which is making a trine, and Jupiter will be moving into Pisces later in the year too. I would say Scorpio, the stellium in the fifth is probably a good thing this year. Don't be nervous. I think this is going to be a good year. Now, if you have planets in the very beginning of Scorpio, that would be more of a personal reading, I think.
Yeah.
But the outer planets are going to kind of leave you alone unless you have stuff in the very beginning.
I'm gonna do. I want to do Ray, and then I want to give you a question from April because it's kind of more of mediumship. And if people don't know, Connie Joe absolutely can connect over. Where I feel like I will get messages, but mine are not. I can't dial up as much as Connie Joe or Stacy or my friend Lana can, and so I don't like to profess anything that I don't feel confident in a caring space to say, yes, I'm going to do that for you. So I'm just going to get a message for DeRay, and I'm just going to put April's message up. So if you want to like channel that while I'm working on DeRay's message from her guides, does that sound good, Connie Joe?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Do my guides or Cameron have anything to say to me?
Cameron was the one I was thinking. Plus, April has access to me, so I'm gonna.
Okay, hold on.
DeRay, it's time to process some things and like make sure you're feeling all of your feelings. I'm getting a little of like, you know how to survive. And I want to pull out the example that I've had again and again in sessions and for myself this week, which is like, I can persevere this. I can do this. Like, I can, because I've been put in so many crisis situations or situations where I was unsafe, I was dysregulated, but I was tough. I was tough and I could do things other people could not. And then I started to realize that what I was voluntarily putting myself through now, I would do it with the mindset of like, oh, I can do that. You should see what I've been through in my life. And so there's like that hyper independence, hyper vigilance that's coming through for you. And it's inviting you to be just a little softer briefly so that you can like really process and feel some feelings, DeRay. Maybe that you're not using your intuition, and there's another piece, and I would like you to email me. By the way, ConnieJoeSkywalker.com, SuzzyEvolutionary.com. That is the one-stop shopping for both of us. And there is a contact form on the bottom rather than like giving you an email to write down. If you need to contact either of us, it's just super easy. Listen, we live in a world where we walk in the house and say, Alexa, turn on the lights, turn off the lights. So in hopes to make things user friendly, just go to our websites, which is ournames.com, SuzzyEvolutionary.com, Connie Joe Skywalker. And just scroll down to the bottom. There's a contact. You can write whatever you want and it come up fast. But DeRay, email me because there is another part and I don't want, it doesn't feel like I'm supposed to say it out loud. So I won't.
April, I just keep hearing that you made the right choice. And I feel like there's fear coming in somewhere, but Cameron is comfortable. He's comfortable. He's okay. He's comfortable. I don't understand why I keep getting comfortable, and you made the right choice. I feel like there was fear though somewhere along the way.
There might be fear now. He might be trying to tell her to not be scared. No.
Because it's funny because I feel like he's comfortable. What is it? What is it? I feel like he's good. He doesn't want you to be fearful, or your guides don't want you to be fearful. Okay, yeah, I know that you have things to fear, April. This is what I'm hearing them say. I know that there have been things to fear and things to worry about, but you've got to set that aside because there's more important things coming your way and more important choices for you to make. And you won't be able to make these choices if you have fear in your heart. Man, I'm hearing you have to man up and be brave.
That sounds like Cameron.
That's what I heard.
So, two things. And April, you have to hop back in that link I sent you. Um, uh, Two things. One, Maricela said, please like the video. It does, like, Connie Joe and I in earnest want to like create community and help and empower all of you in every way that we can. So sharing just helps make us more accessible to others. And we give a lot. So like, please don't be worried that like you want to keep us all to yourself because we're all helping everybody feel better. And the more people feel good about themselves, the less crappy behavior you will have to deal with in your environment at work and everything else. Because that's the point, right? Like if everybody's feeling good, then we deal with less people that are angry on the inside. So it helps everybody. But share and like, and when you share, YouTube only knows that you press the copy link. They don't know what you do with it next. You don't even have to drop it anywhere, but you can share it to yourself. That helps a lot. The other thing is Miss Lee O'Donnell has joined us. I didn't ask her to because I said I was going to be moderator free, but I'm super happy. And
Thank you.
everybody's saying hi to her. She and
Hi.
Connie Joe have their own little love affair. It makes me
I love
sick.
her. I do.
They might like each other more than they like me. I'm okay with it.
Oh,
Whatever.
April, you're welcome. I don't even know what I said. I don't even know what I said to you now.
That was channeled. And DeRay, I hope you got that message. Okay, so hi, Ashley in Mexico. Okay. I'd like to know if I have any spiritual gifts. Are you a healer or something different?
Oh my God. You're an astrologer. Alexa,
Yeah.
Lord have mercy. And it is
Um,
spiritual, but you are amazing.
yeah, and also I'm going to be real honest because that's what I do. You have to have like a little bit more grace and healing with yourself, and then you will naturally turn into the healer. Like when we are healers, we have to give that to ourselves first, or else we're not like we're coming from a place of knowledge, but not of like internal source. And like if you get that, you get that. But like we can know the things to say to somebody else, but like the groundedness that comes from giving yourself the grace and the healing first really helps you to be a more effective healer. And also because a little bit because you walk the walk, yeah. But also that will just happen. No one has to like try to do that. Like you just will, and you don't have to come into a spiritual genre of work. You could work at a hair salon. You could work at a plant or an office setting. And if you are a healer, your energy will naturally lend itself and say the things to the people who need to hear it. So you don't have to quit if you love your job and you also want to be a healer. You can do that within any genre, truly.
And you know what, Alexa, this just came in. I'm going to freak you out maybe, but you have the gift of mediumship. You are able to talk with souls that are no longer in a physical body. Just give that some thought.
Okay. Okay. Um, so I feel like this is a whole show. Connie Joe and I did a show about a year ago on like twin flame and soulmate. I feel like we have to just completely redo that. Um,
Yeah.
uh, I know that you had a question about like you feel like it's your twin. I think that what you're feeling is soulmate energy, especially because we just had a reading. And the energy I pick up is not, if it was a twin and you just met this person, it's really unlikely that there isn't a little bit of running or a little bit um and so I don't want to like take up the rest of our time and our precious time with Connie Joe explaining the whole difference between soulmate and twin flame and karmic. But you would be more likely to confuse a twin flame with a karmic than you would be to confuse it with a soulmate, because there's a lot of there's a lot of people who use the whole twin flame thing. It brings in numbers. So but it's not as easy as the relationship you have now, what I felt and saw. So that's why, and it's not a bad thing for it not to be your twin flame. Sometimes we encounter twin flame, but that's not, we don't always end up with our twin flame. So the misconception that like if you find a soulmate and everything's really nice, but then your twin flame walks into your life, you'll leave the soulmate or hurt the soulmate because that's not the one. That's the fallacy. Um so but yeah. And I don't know that, I won't profess to be positive that like being a twin in real life has anything to do with uh having that lifetime with your twin where there's a reconnection. Okay. And soulmates will also feel like you've been in other lives with them. And so will karmics. Okay, so Gemini Love was saying that's exactly the Venus. Okay. Natalie wanted to also know about the dream. I actually got that email, so I'm gonna answer you that privately. It's just that I was running like a crazy person today and I had this, but I'll answer that when I get off of this. Um Here's Heather, and I saw somebody else had a really good astrology question. I don't know, Neptune. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And you probably have clear cognizance, which for me, I think is the hardest um gift to clock, because you just don't know why you know things, where you're not seeing, like Connie Joe will see a wallet and a freezer, or Connie will hear and channel somebody's brother say something exactly the way, because she doesn't even, that's not her. That's, so when clear sentience, you feel different things in your body, but when it's clear smelling, you smell. But when it's clear cognizance, you're like, I don't know if I think that I know that. Is that my ego? Is that because of what I want it to be? Is that because I heard it someplace else? So, but I think that you have clear cognizance, Heather.
I think that's an excellent place to have Neptune. Um, Neptune in the 12th house is, I'm going to say it, it's probably one of the only places that Neptune actually feels comfortable, because it's the Pisces house. It's like it can feel, it gets to take in the whole collective. And I definitely think it's a great place to build intuition.
Mm-hmm. Although I don't hate it in the third.
No, I don't either. Well, I
Yeah.
don't hate it anywhere. I just think
Right.
it's
Right.
happy in some
I
places.
think that's like my second favorite placement for Neptune,
Yeah.
because it can get utilized instead of weaponized.
Thank
It
you.
gets weaponized a lot in the other houses.
Uh,
Um, Lil John. Yeah. This new moon in Pisces, I'm excited for. But go ahead, Connie Joe, take that.
I was going to let you have that one because I think you're better with the new moons and how they affect
How is it
people.
going to affect your moon in the 10th house? So you're having a new moon on your moon. Depends on the
Very
degrees.
accurate.
Uh, Little John, hit us with the degrees in the comments if you can while we're answering this.
I think it's going to
Um,
shine light on that 10th house. You know, where, what exactly are you doing in that 10th house? What is it you want to do in this lifetime that you can publicly say, this is what I want to do because it's that highest house? So I think the new moon shines this new light where that might flicker inside of you, where you can see something new on the horizon that you want to do.
yeah.
You go
Um,
ahead.
Also, Pisces as an MC, you can be brilliant, connected, feel the mission and everything, and not take the action sometimes with Pisces because it's a little less grounded. So I'm going to tell you that this is going to give you an opportunity to look at new ways that you can be happy in career. And I feel like this is really important to you, and not just job, but like career, what you want to be doing. It's going to illuminate things. Like you're going to have okay, I got it. But then you are going to have to look at what that last full moon took out of your way, because you're going to have to execute it. So whatever support systems you need to make sure you execute the epiphany that is going to come with this new moon, I highly suggest you do whatever it takes. Get a buddy, get it done, because it's going to be good for you. Um,
Mm-hmm.
uh, oh, thank you. I was just going to say the easiest thing to do right now, Gemini love, is just go right back to the content and like, into the contact, go on my website, but just scroll right down and just write me an email and I'll get it. It'll come up like a text on my phone. Um, that's the easiest way to do any of that right now. Also, we haven't even talked about it, but the
I
way
was
that
about to say the same thing. I know where you're going.
Connie, Joe, and I have been, because we really are here for you guys, and I'm very conscious of not trying to make this like talk about myself or how you can spend money or any of that. Like we really are here to like help. But what I want to say is that Connie, Joe, and I also have Skywalker Evolutionary, where it's a dual session. A couple of people in here have had that. But the way that you see us picking up the same messages, or she says something and then I pick up the card for it, they're magical to the point where I think even Connie, Joe, and I come away kind of like, we can't even believe that happened, because our guides seem to like each other just as much as we do. And it's very cohesive. And what's really interesting is that she can see, and then she'll be like, I'm seeing this, just the way she said, like, I'm not sure what the train track meant. And I'm like, oh, I know what that meant when she was talking about Adva. So she'll see something and I can feel around it. Or she'll hear something. And so, like, it's really interesting because we have all four gifts and a little bit of the smelling thing. All four gifts wear together, and they seem to finish each other's sandwiches. And then we have her advanced, like, brilliant astrological mind, where you're in a trauma informed space. We do intention work, we've done candle work, the reiki, all of it. So it's all inclusive in this one appointment. And that is on my website. You can't miss it because it's black with shooting stars. And you'll see it says Skywalker Evolutionary. It's also on Connie Joe's. Um, but the new booking system for Skywalker Evolutionary, we changed booking systems. So that is on mine right now. And then we'll change it on Connie Joe's by the end of the day. I did that at like 3 a.m. last night. So I wasn't waking her up to say, hey, we got to switch that.
Thank
But
you.
they're incredible experiences. And I'm working on finding some place on my website that I could put reviews from people's experiences there. Um,
I love that, Stacy.
okay. Neptune is the highest planet chart. Sagittarius 5 degrees MC, 25 degrees Scorpio. Oh, I thought there was a question. Sorry. Okay. I think we might be.
You know what? I will say this though. The planet that's at the highest point of your chart, I think this is interesting that she said that.
Mhm.
No matter what planet it is, the planet that's closest to that midheaven is probably what people see, not when they meet you, that's your ascendant, but when they see you in a public arena, when they see you in a public place, a chat room, anywhere where they haven't met you on a personal level, that's the planet they see a lot of. The sign on your midheaven and the planet that's closest. And not everybody has planets close to their midheaven, but those that do, it's very visible. So I just wanted to say that.
All right. I think we're going to take this last question because I find it really interesting. And we're going to do this again. So if for any reason you didn't get to us, but I feel myself, and if you guys can't see it on my face, like I feel myself tapped out. But we're gonna do again, we're gonna do more of these. And please don't forget to contact me. I know the minute I say we're gonna take more question, a lot of people leave. So please don't forget to go on my website and contact me if you're interested in being like one of the trying out your gifts as a guest when we start doing that next month. And thank you, Lee, for being so helpful and lovely in the chat. That was sweet. I think you're just here because Connie Joe's here because she never shows up on my monthly like zodiac, and all the all the February readings are officially done. So go look for your sign, your moon, your house, whatever. South Node conjunct Mars in the third house in synastry.
Well, the
I know
first
what I
thing I thought was, that could have been a sibling in a past life. But usually when I see that, it's the South Node with Mercury. But in the third house, it makes me wonder. Um, Also, it makes what I really think is there must have been some animosity between the two of you in a past life, is what I pick up the most.
Yeah.
Like arguments, just, or you were in a car crash together. The third house rules cars and
Yeah.
and short travels. So that
Mhm.
just came to me out of the blue. And Mars is accident. So yeah.
So somebody just said, can they ask Lee if they could drop the link to Connie Joe's YouTube? So Connie Joe does not have a YouTube yet. Connie Joe might have a friend who's been trying to tell her that everybody wants to hear what she has to say, and she should have her own, right? So like, because I said last night or yesterday afternoon when I was doing Pisces, like, really, Connie Joe doesn't need me to do this. She doesn't. And so I'm happy to always be involved in anything that Connie Joe is doing. She is my peach. But I encourage you all to go to her website right now, ConnieJoeSkywalker.com. Scroll to the contact and please ask her to start her own YouTube where she
Guess
teaches.
what? I am seriously thinking about um, dropping my own YouTube channel on the solstice. I think that's the 21st of March. So, yeah. Just got to get some good content in there. I'm a bit of a chicken shit, okay? I admit it.
And I'm like relentless. See, we all want Connie Joe to have.
I
Yes.
love Annika.
Yes. Thank you, Annika. Annika, I feel like you were here all day, but I don't know that I saw a question from you. I definitely looked. Um, but
Oh,
yes, everybody, please go bombard her with love and encouragement, right? Because um I have to be annoying at this point to say like,
I
she's so humble. I say that all the time. She is so
love
humble.
you guys.
Connie Joe, get your own YouTube.
Uh,
You're gonna
See, I
make
even
my
get embarrassed with
blush.
this kind of stuff, but I sure love you guys. Okay,
Yeah.
shall we go to the next question? Shall we finish this question,
I think
Susie?
I think I think right, you finished this question. I think that was the one that we said do it just your voice is the good content, right? You know that's how she got the nickname cuz I heard her before I even got to like officially speak to her or introduce myself to her and I was like, "Oh my god, she has a voice like a warm peach pie." And I would say that and I don't think we ever even and I would make like little videos for like YouTube and like you guys have to watch. There's this team and there's this lady Connie Joe and she's got voice like a warm peach pie. And so I would say that and then it just turned into she was my peach. Um,
I love it.
okay, she's fully blushing. I think we can
I am.
stop,
It's like
I can think we can stop torturing her.
you can take the girl out of Nashville, but you can't take Nashville out of the girl. It
Right,
just doesn't happen.
right. But if you want to book readings, if you want to give us a suggestion, if you want to apply, just go to the websites and go to the contact and drop us an email. Yes, she's a Southern Belle. I agree. I love this. I don't need to even eat anything. I could live off of this love for Connie Joe cuz
I love you guys.
yeah.
I'm getting embarrassed. Susie, do you have anything to say about the Gemini third house synastry?
I would think, yeah, if that was North Node, I would think that would be like amazing. You guys would probably help each other with the mission. But the South Node Mars to me also is like there is some kind of injury to each other or with each other in a last life. And again, in the third house, that could be also somebody who, when they make you mad, can take you backwards in the things that you're trying to work on for yourself. So,
Yeah. I hadn't thought about that. That's a good point, Susie. I agree.
Stacy said, "How would I ever have time to have a job? I'd be watching YouTube all day, every day."
Oh, I love you guys.
Yeah, I am Chica and she is Peaches.
Yes. Susie's my chica.
Yeah.
What's my
So,
chica?
all right. Oh, and Emily put your link there. So that is Connie Joe's
Thanks.
um
Thanks,
website. All right. Well, we love you. You guys go love. Please honor. Don't judge. If you haven't watched my inner child walkthrough, it's free. You don't have to pay for an appointment, nothing. Just go watch that as many times you need to until you feel like you're fully releasing shame and you're not experiencing shame when you're looking at those moments anymore. That's right on the top of my YouTube. And just thank you to Connie Joe for your time, sharing your brilliance.
I loved
Your
it.
gift.
I love it.
Yeah, we
I
had a good
miss
time.
you
If you
guys. I
told me she was
haven't
going
seen
to
you
hang
in a
out,
while.
yeah, if you told me she was going to hang out for 2 hours, I would have said nope. But it
And I
just
didn't
flew
even
like
have
this.
to see. I mean, really.
If you know, you know. If you've been in dual sessions with us, all right, guys, we love you. We love you so much. Thank you.